Okay, so the Pharaoh and his armies marching after the Israelites are at the bed of the Red Sea, not in the Red Sea just yet, but they are at the foot of the Red Sea, and I'm imagining it's some sort of flat scape right before the where they were. They're looking out, and the Pharaoh is quite a bit of ways with his army, but they can still see him coming again as where we left off. They are terrified. Let's go ahead and to go into this quote here by Adin again. Send to us power and light. Harrow to the house of the dead. Look shining at new styles of architecture, a change of heart. So with this quote, there's a message of hope, but it's really almost like a prayer. Send to us power and light. Let's go ahead and discover what the Lord sends the Israelites at this time, and technically the Egyptians. What is their guiding factor? Of course, they are promised a land where they can call their own, and they are looking for a new settlement, right? A new town, and just new scenery. And again, they're praying for help during this scary, scary time when they think they are all going to die and be captured back or murdered. Let's go ahead and continue what we have. The Lord says to Moses, "Raise your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea to divide the water, so that the Israelites can go through the sea on dry ground. I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, so that they will go in after them, and I will gain glory through Pharaoh and all his army, through his chariots and his horsemen." So now he is instructing Moses what is to be done, which sounds impossible, right? But then the angel of God, who had been traveling in front of Israel's army, withdrew and went behind them. The pillar of cloud also moved in front and stood behind them, coming between the armies of Egypt and Israel. Through the night the cloud brought darkness to one side and light to the other side, so neither went near the other all night long. So when the Israelites were thinking there was going to be a clash, as did the Egyptians, something that the Israelites were actually following was this kind of pillar-like cloud. It almost looked like what you'd think like a cyclone would look like, or a tornado, but it was just a giant cloud formation, right? It was like a circular cylinder. They were actually following that. It was giving them the direction in which they were to go, because there was an intuitive direction that they could have traveled. It was shorter, right? But they were actually following this cloud, right? Which was actually the angel of God guiding them in the direction. But this cloud had moved much like a tornado or a cyclone, and as the Israelites were crossing through the Red Sea, as it was being parted with each step, it wasn't something that parted, all at once. It was just moving as they were moving through it, right? The cloud moved then in front of them to in between the Pharaoh's army and the Israelites. And it was dark and stormy. It was already like nighttime. It was dusk around this time. And on the other side, it was up in flames, right? So we're talking about in this quote how send us power and light. That's exactly what this angel was representing. And physically what it was just dark and stormy on one side, where it was obscuring vision. It was making it really hard for Pharaoh's army to see. And then a bright, glowing, fiery light on the other side, helping the Israelites being guided through the Red Sea in the middle of the night, essentially. And the Red Sea is large too. We forget, in dramatizations, right? In movie depictions, it seems like it was just like a little ravine, right? It was no ravine. The Red Sea was very large straight across. So it took some time, most definitely the entire night, to get through that Red Sea altogether. So that is one thing there. And think about all those people, how much water needed to be split for 600,000 people to get through, plus Pharaoh's army and all of that. So it's an amazing sight. Anyways, so neither went near each other all night long. So there was essentially no battle. They didn't get any closer to each other than the Lord wanted them to. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and all that night the Lord drove back the sea with a strong east wind and turned it into dry land. The waters were divided, and the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground, with a wall of water on on their right and their left. So again, by each step, the Lord was moving the waters with the winds. It wasn't something that happened without any force of nature. It was something with a very strong wind, just completely spreaded the water apart. And as they were walking, it was forming into dry land, and there were the walls on either side of them, because it's fairly deep, especially where they were, just in the middle of the night, crossing through this giant sea, right? During the last watch of the night, the Lord looked down from the pillar of fire and cloud at the Egyptian army and threw it into a confusion. He jammed the wheels of their chariots and so that they could have difficulty driving. And the Egyptians said, "Let's get away from the Israelites. The Lord is fighting for them against Egypt." Big surprise there, right? They're almost taken aback that the Lord is not fighting with them. But no, the Lord is jamming up their chariots and really making it very hard for them to make any headway through the sea, keeping them at a great distance behind the 600,000 Israelites in front of him. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and at daybreak the sea went back into its place. The Egyptians were fleeing toward it, but the Lord swept them into the sea. The water flowed back and covered the chariots and horsemen, the entire army of Pharaoh that had followed the Israelites into the sea. Not one of them survived. So everybody that had went behind the Israelites, right, they were catching their tails nearly, but everybody had made it out to the other side as far as Israelites go by morning. That's how long it took them to get through the sea. They were through it all night. They reached the other side by morning, and then the Pharaoh's army was still trailing behind them. Slowly but surely, a lot of them, if not all of them, we have made it into the sea at that point by the time the waters crept up over them, drowning everybody. Not one of them survived. Dun, dun, dun. So yes, that is a great feat by the Lord, and Moses was just kind of the one orchestrating the people and guiding the people, telling them to trust him. It's all going to be okay. Trust the Lord. And they just, they went for it, and it was amazing. They were amazed, to say the least. The Israelites after that, after staying up all night with their walking, they were in shock by the end of it, and rejoicing of joy. We're going to go ahead and see what they were doing and how they were praising the Lord after this. But I'll probably wait either till tonight if I get bored, or tomorrow to go through that next part. Yes. Now what to do? I don't know what else to do today. More cuddles with the kittens. All right, everybody. Whoop. I realized my microphone was down. Anyways, I hope you have a great rest of your afternoon and enjoy your day. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.